Hello everybody, let's make this kaftan boubou together. I'm going to show you how I cut and how I stitch the boubou. Over here we have kaftan boubou with some asoke design at the front piece, right? So I made use of adire polish. You can make use of any fabric to sew this. I made use of 4 yards in total. That's for the body and also the patch pocket in front. All in total I made use of 4 yards of adire polish, and you can see that slits at the down part, right? And then for the asoke I made use of 2 yards because the length of my asoke was more than 45, so I bought 2 yards and it was okay for me. Hi guys, my name is Fatima A. Yusuf, and on this platform I share sewing tutorials. So if this is something you like to learn, let's get to it. So I already cut out my 4 yards, right? I folded it into 2, so I have 4 layers. We are cutting back and front together since we are not adding slits at the back, neither are we adding zip. So the one side is closed, the other side is open, right? And the upper part and down parts are open. So for the length, I included 2 inches allowance to my client's length, and for the wideness of the boubou I made use of 20. I'm just going to mark 20 at the shoulder parts, right? And sorry, I lost the clip of the neckline, so I'm just going to explain how I achieved my neckline. It's just a basic way of me marking out my neckline if you've been watching my videos. So now right now I marked 20. That will be my wideness. That will be the wideness of my kaftan boubou, right? So from that 20 I'm going to mark my sleeve opening. I'm going to mark 11 inches. Like I used to say, you can make use of 10, 12 depending on what you want. When I mark that 11, I'm going to join it back to that 20 inches with a straight line, and on that 11 I'm going to mark the line inwards so that we can impute our body measurement. For this boubou, you basically just need your full length and then the wideness of your boubou. How do you get the wideness of your boubou? Is just from your middle back to the desirable sleeve length. So here I already marked some point. I was going to explain. Marked my neckline, and then I said I was going to take that 11 inches inwards, right? So after taking it inwards, I marked 17. That will be the body of our kaftan boubou. So I'm going to take that 17 down to the end of my fabric, and I'm going to join with a straight line. We are not cutting the pockets together, and it's a kaftan boubou. You just take it down straight. 17 is okay. You can mark 16, you can mark 15 is okay. Since there will be slits at the side, so you see your clients can walk freely in them, even if it is fitted, right? So around the armhole, we are not leaving it straight. It's a cut together boubou. So you're just going to form a curve around that part, and you also follow that curve when you're stitching and when you're cutting out your piece. Let me go back to what I did. I marked the wideness 20 inches, right? For my neckline, I made use of 4 by 2 inches. That's for the back, and it's a round neckline. Then for the front, I made use of 4 by 6 inches, and it's a V neckline. So after that, wideness of my boubou, I marked 20, right? Then I took that 20 down to 11 inches for the sleeve opening, and I took the sleeve opening 11 inches inwards, and I marked 17, and I took that 17 down to the end of my fabric, and I joined to a straight line, right? So now I'm going to cut the back neckline first, and then I'll go to that 20 inches that we marked the wideness. I marked 20 inches because I'll still be adding a band to it. At the end I had 22 point something inches. I'm going to mark this. I'm going to cut out the sleeve opening like this, and then after that I'll go over to cut the armpit area. You see, I'm going to follow that curve. Don't make the mistake of not following that curve. But in case you make the mistake of just cutting straight, you forget to put the curve at the armpit area, there is no problem. You can do it while you're stitching. You understand? When you're stitching, when you read that part, you just take it in a curvy way. You stitch in a curvy way. So you just cut out everything the way I'm cutting. And then for that 70 marks that I mark, I made of a small ruler to join them. If you have a longer ruler, it is better so that you can have a straight piece. So I'll just cut through those lines. This is my first time of working the adire polish, and it was easy to cut. The material, it was okay. So after cutting that, you should have something like this, right? After this, I'm going to go on to my fabric, and I'm going to remove the back piece from the front piece. That was why I had to cut the round neckline first, and I left the V neckline because that will be the front piece only. Had it been I wanted both back and front necklines to look the same, I'll just use round neckline and I will just cut it all at once. But this one, we're having two different types of neckline, sorry. So I had to separate it from back and front. I do make mistakes sometimes. I cut my V. I've done it about twice. So I'm always careful not to cut it together. But in some cases, you might make a mistake and cut the V neckline together. So you end up having V neckline for both back and front, which is also a style. In this fashion, every mistake, you can turn it to a style, to a design, right? So after this, you should have something like this. Your front piece, that's the one with the V neckline, and our back piece is the one with the round neckline, right? This is easy to cut and it doesn't consume much time. You can make this about 10 to 5 in a day. You just need to cut them first and then you get your sewing machine and you sew. So now we are going to work on the neckline. You can use bias for this part, is okay, but I feel like cutting an interface is better. It's going to be neater and it's going to look better. So from the pieces that I cut out at the body part, so I cut out a little bit, I had to join some, I can get my sewable length, and then I'll just go on, place it, fold it into two, since our pieces are folded into two, and I'm just going to trace my neckline on them. So you have your interface, right? For the back neckline, I just had to trim the parts to get the circle, the curvy shape that I wanted. I'm going to do that for the back piece too. And for the interface, you can actually hem the sides, the down part first before you stitch them to your dresses. And if you have a weaving machine, that's very perfect. You just weave the edges and you're good to go. But for this particular fabric, I didn't stitch the edges because I don't even have a weaving machine, so I didn't stitch the edges. I'll just use it like that. So after cutting out everything, let me show what I will do on the front piece. So I'm just going to place my interface front face to the front face of my piece like this, and I'm just going to stitch the neck area using 1/2 inches or 1/4 inch depending on what you want. After you're done stitching, you just notch the middle part so that when you turn you get a sharp look, right? And you can notch the sides also, but you're notching very small. Don't notch and go and get to your stitch, don't do that. So when you turn it over, you press it down with your iron and you have something looking very neat like this. Like I said earlier, you can weave, you can hem the edges, no problem. So between the two layers, I'm going to put my hemming gum or your hemming tape. I'm going to put it and I'm going to press it down with my pressing iron, and this is going to hold the piece together and it's going to give it a good finishing so that when your clients wear it, it will not be popping out, you understand? So while putting this hemming gum, while pressing, you should be very careful so that your front piece won't look somehow. So you need to get a neater look at the front also. So you should be mindful of your front while you're ironing down. So I did the same thing for the back piece also, the round neckline. Like I said, you can weave, you can hem the edges, no problem. So I stitched my interface for back and front piece, right? And I ironed it. I used my hemming gum, right? So now we work on the front piece. So this is the 2 yards of asoke that I'm making use of. You need to get a color that matches your fabric. So this one, I just took the adhere polish to the woman that sells the asoke, and she picked this. And I wasn't really seeing the beauty, but afterwards, after sewing, I saw that the combination was okay. So I saw a hack on TikTok. I wanted to try it out using this asoke, you know, to get your V shape for your asoke where you don't need to cut out the V shape. So I tried it out and then I ended up creating my own style. I was rushing and that was how I made the mistake. And later on, I just turned my mistake to a design, you know. Firstly, you're going to place your asoke, one part of it. You place it on your V neckline like the way I'm doing, and then you pin it down, and then you fold in the down part. You fold in a way to get a very straight line at the middle of your piece. Watch the video, you see what I did. And when you've done that, you pin it down. You've gotten the shape you wanted, right, for one part. Then I'll just cut off the excess, the remaining part. So this other side was where I made mistake. When placing this other side, you should make sure that the lines on your asoke on the other side that you already placed are lines. That was what I did not check out. As you can see, for me placing it, the middle, that gold line that is wide on my asoke did not align with the other part. I was supposed to check that out, right? But I didn't. I just felt like, because the video I watched was very fast, so I felt like when I just place it, it's going to come out. But no, you see, when I folded the down part, you can see the golden line, that white one, didn't align with the other part. So that was where I made the mistake. So when you're doing yours, you want to get a perfect V, you should make sure the lines are lines. So when they align together, you're going to get a perfect result. But this wasn't bad either. I created my own style, right? Just placed it, I pinned it down, and I fold in the down part and I pinned down. So when I found out that they didn't meet up, I didn't go back to check. I just formed my own style. So I put the first one that I folded, I put the edge inwards and I placed the second one on top a little bit and I pinned it down. And the second one, I just took it down to where it ends. So I'll cut out my excess. Don't forget to pin down. After cutting out my excess, I'll just go and iron. I'm going to use my iron to press it down. So this was me when I was covering when I was placing one on another, at one on the other, at the end part, as you can see. So this was where the other layer ended. It was a little bit far from the first layer, right? So I just went ahead with it. I felt it was fine, safe. It was okay. It was looking nice. Just pinned the edges down. I cut the sides. I'll just pin it down. But if you really want to get the V shape, like I said earlier, just make sure the lines, they align. When they align, you get a perfect result. So that was the mistake I made. But this one also came out perfect, right? Just that I didn't get the perfect V that I made, and then I had excess around the neckline. I'm going to show you guys later on. So after pinning out something like this, right? So after pinning, next thing to do is just to top stitch. You stitch at the middle part of your piece. That's where the two asoke met. So you just stitch downwards. But before that, I had to iron. I use my iron to press it down. You know, asoke and iron, it works perfectly. So I'll just iron it and then I stitch. So after stitching, right, I'm done stitching the middle. I also stitch the sides of the asoke design so that I can attach it to the piece, right? When I now noticed the mistake I made, the neckline I had excess, and when you cut it off, it will be a problem. So I decided to just fold it in. I folded it in and I just stitch on it, and then I'll cut out the excess. And that didn't really disturb the dress. It didn't even disturb my client. It was okay. So that was part of the mistake I made. I turned it to a style, so it will look like this. So in case you don't want yours to look like this, just follow what I said. Make sure the lines on your asoke are lines on both sides. You're going to get a perfect result. So after this is what we have. You can see the neckline popping, right? So this is my patch pocket. I already cut out. I had to join the pieces left together. I told you I used just 4 yards for this. So for the pockets, we have 9 inches by 9 inches, right? That's the length and the width. So you can use any dimension of your choice. So this is the asoke I'm placing on top of the pocket. The length is 3. Then how wide it is, it depends on your pockets that you already cut out, right? Since mine is 9, it should be 9 at the end. So I just stitched the asoke to the pocket, front face facing front face. So when you turn it, you should have something like this. Then I'll cut out the excess asoke that I had. And then after this, what I'll just do is by the sides and the down parts, I'm going to fold in half or quarter inch, and I'll press it down with my iron. So after doing that, I have something like this. That's how the back looks, and this is how the front looks, right? So now I'm going to go to my front piece. For my shoulder, I'm going to measure down to 18. This 18 is not constant. It depends on where your clients want your pocket to be. So I marked 18, and on the other side, so I mark 18. Then that 18, on the middle point of my piece, I'm going to mark 4 inches. That's your nipple to nipple measurement, right? Like I always say, the 4 inches is not constant. It depends on your nipple to nipple measurement. When you get your nipple to nipple measurement, divide it by 2, then you get your point. You can get 3.5, you can get 4, you can get 4.5, no problem. So I'm going to place my patch pockets from that 18, that 4 inches, right? And that's where I'm going to place my patch pocket, and I'll just stitch the sides of my patch pockets, the 2 sides and the down parts, and you should have something like this. So that's me showing you where I stitched. So you're not stitching the upper part, because that's where that's the opening of the pocket, right? So for the pocket, you can make use of any dimension, and also for where to place your pocket, you can use any length, and then the exact place to place your pockets, your nipple to nipple measurement, divide by 2. That's what you mark to both left and right from the middle point of your piece, and you stitch, you're good to go. So now I'm going to place my back piece on my front piece, front face facing front face, and I will stitch the shoulders together using 1/2 inches. I'm going to do that for both sides, and then I'll open it up, and then I already cut out asoke. It's also folded, and I've pressed it down with my iron, and the length is 3 inches. The wideness depends on your sleeve length also. Sorry, your sleeve opening. I'm going to stitch it to my sleeve area, front face facing front face. So at this point, you know your asoke has 2 sides, right? You have one that has plenty lines, the other one doesn't have plenty lines. So it depends on which one you want to come out. One that you want to be outside, that's the one you're going to be placing on the fabric. And then the one you want inside will be facing you. Stitching, I'm done here. I'm going to join the bodies together. Like I always tell you people, measure your sleeve opening whether 9, 8 or 10, then you just the rest you just stitch. And don't forget the curvy part of the armpit, don't take your stitch straight down. So while stitching, right, both side, I did not stitch everything fully for the side. I didn't take it down to the end of my fabric. I had to stop somewhere since our boubou is going to have a slit. If there won't be slits, you just take it straight down, but in this case there will be slits so that your clients can move comfortably. So while stitching, I'm going to measure where I want my sleeve to be. That's the down part, how wide, how long I want my sleeve to be. And while measuring, you put in mind your hemming allowance that is at the down part, right? For that, I'm going to stop, stitch where my sleeve will start from. Then I'll fold in the allowance that I have and I'll just stitch about 1/2 inches at the sides. And you should have something like this. So you just look at my hand movements. That was where I stitched. You start from down, you take it up, and then let's say you start from right. When you take it up, you stitch straight and move to the left side, and then you stitch downwards. So you top stitching at the beginning and stop stitching at the end part, right? We place on our armpit side, you just give it a notch. So that's when you're ironing, your sleeve will come out nice. In case your allowance is like 1/2 inches, there's no need for you to like notch the armpit area. Then please, when you're done, you should try to weave the edges. The inner part is going to look nicer. So I hemmed the down part, and this is what we have. So we did a little bit of stonework on the body of the attire, and my clients liked it. So what do you guys think about this? Is this something you would like to try on? Please don't forget, if this video has been helpful, give it a thumbs up, drop your comments for any question, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to turn on your notification bell. So I'm going to see you guys in another video. Should in case you have any question, please drop it in the comment section. If you have any style you want me to try out, you can send it to me on Facebook and also on Instagram. So thank you all for watching once again. Don't forget to subscribe, like, drop your comment. See you guys another day.